Welcome to my channel, The World Coin. Today videos is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins. I have two videos of 10 pence, so let's get it. The 1992 10 pence coin, 10p from the United Kingdom, represents a fascinating transitional period in British numismatic history, both in terms of its design, size, and symbolic importance in the broader narrative of decimalization and modern coinage reform. The coin belongs to the second generation of decimal coins, introduced after the landmark currency switch that began in 1971, when Britain moved away from the old SSD system, pounds, shillings, and pence, to a decimal currency system, which divided the pound into 100 pence. Originally, the 10p coin had been introduced in 1968, prior to full decimalization, to prepare the public for the change, and was equivalent in size and value to the pre-decimal 2-shilling coin, also known as the florin. These larger 10p coins, measuring 28.5 millimeters in diameter and weighing 11.31 grams, were minted from cupronickel, an alloy composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving them a silvery appearance and solid durability. For over 2 decades, this large version of the 10p coin remained in circulation, but by the late 1980s and early 1990s, the need for more compact and practical coinage had become clear. As vending machines, automated tills, and everyday commerce increasingly demanded smaller and lighter coins for convenience and cost-effectiveness, the Royal Mint made a significant change in 1992. They issued a new, smaller version of the 10p coin. This reduction in size marked a major step in the continuous modernization of British coinage. The 1992 version of the 10p coin retained the same core cupronickel composition, but was drastically reduced in diameter to 24.5 millimeters and in weight to 6.5 grams, a nearly 50% weight reduction. This change aligned with similar reductions in size made to the 5p coin in 1990, and later the 50p coin in 1997. The decision to issue smaller coins was not just for physical convenience, but also had practical implications in terms of production, costs, distribution, and compatibility with cash handling machines. Despite the reduction in size, the reverse design remained the same, continuing to feature the emblematic crowned lion, the lion passant guardant, a heraldic symbol derived from the royal arms of England, first adopted during the reign of Richard the Lionheart in the 12th century. This particular lion design, created by artist Christopher Ironside, had been used on the 10p coin since its inception in 1968 and carried forward into the smaller 1992 version, preserving continuity and tradition in the midst of change. The crowned lion, depicted with a crown resting on its head and paw raised in a bold stance, represents strength, sovereignty, and the enduring nature of the monarchy. It also signified Britain's historical legacy and its association with royal authority and imperial heritage. Surrounding the lion on the reverse side of the coin are the inscriptions 10 pence and the denomination 10 beneath the lion, all carefully arranged in a clear, legible font that reflects the classic yet modern style of British coin design. On the obverse side of the 1992 10p coin is the third definitive portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the sculptor Raphael Maklouf. This effigy, introduced in 1985 and used until 1997, shows the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, a jeweled crown often worn by queens during state occasions, and facing to the right, as per British numismatic tradition which alternates the direction of the monarch's profile with each new reign. Maklouf's portrait aimed to present a more idealized and regal depiction of the Queen, with smoother lines and a serene expression that projected continuity and dignity. The inscription around the effigy reads Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, followed by the year 1992. This Latin legend stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a traditional titulature that connects the monarch's divine right to rule with her role as the head of the Church of England. While the design and inscription seem familiar to any user of British coinage, they are steeped in centuries of constitutional and religious history that trace back to the Tudor and even Plantagenet eras. From a mintage perspective, 1992 is a pivotal year because it marked the first issuance of the newly sized 10p coins, and as such, the larger pre-1992 coins were gradually demonetized and withdrawn from circulation. This made the 1992 coins not only more usable, but also symbolically representative of a new chapter in UK monetary circulation. According to Royal Mint records, over 1.4 billion of the smaller 10p coins were minted between 1992 and 1999, with the 1992 issue itself reaching a total mintage of approximately 1.41 billion, making it a very common coin in circulation and not particularly rare from a collector's standpoint. However, because it was the first year of the new size, some collectors do value it as a transitional or first-issue specimen, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Numismatically, coins from transition years often draw interest due to their historical context and the significance of design or size changes. For this reason, a 1992 10p coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, or part of a Royal Mint annual set, may fetch a modest premium over face value. Still, for the most part, circulated examples remain worth only their face value unless kept in mint condition. Culturally, the 10p coin has always been a staple of British daily life, from vending machines and telephone boxes to pocket change and small purchases at local shops. The 1992 10p, although smaller than its predecessor, retained this role, and its introduction didn't create widespread public resistance, as the coin retained its design and spending power. This contrasts somewhat with the public reaction to later coin redesigns, such as the 2008 Shield series by Matthew Dent, which completely changed the visual language of British coinage. The 1992 version stands as a quieter reform, one based on pragmatism rather than aesthetics. It's also worth noting that by the early 1990s, Britain was facing an evolving relationship with Europe, with the Maastricht Treaty signed in 1992 establishing the European Union. And the global economy was shifting toward digital transactions, electronic banking, and the early stirrings of what would later become contactless payments. In this context, the 10p coin represents a tangible holdover from an age before digital currency, a piece of metal with literal weight and presence in the hand, offering tactile proof of value. Though its economic worth may be limited, its symbolic value as a link to the everyday rhythms of British life remains considerable. In conclusion, the 1992 10 pence coin is more than just a piece of change. It encapsulates the evolution of British currency, the balance between tradition and modernization, and the subtle ways in which small changes reflect broader societal shifts. From the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II to the enduring symbol of the crowned lion, from the reduction in size to accommodate technological advances to its role as a silent witness in the pockets of millions, the 1992 10p coin is a miniature artifact of late 20th century Britain. It speaks not only to the Royal Mint's careful stewardship of coinage, but also to the cultural and economic currents of its time. Though it may now be passed over without a thought, it remains a lasting emblem of the currency evolution and royal legacy in the UK. The 2005 10 pence 10p coin of the United Kingdom stands as a small but enduring symbol of Britain's modern coinage tradition, embedded within the larger narrative of British numismatics. Struck by the Royal Mint, the 10p coin from 2005 carries on a legacy first established in 1968, when the first decimal 10 pence coins were introduced, ahead of the United Kingdom's full adoption of decimalization in 1971. The coin from 2005 belongs to the second generation of 10 pence coins, having undergone a size and weight reduction in 1992 to better suit modern needs and to allow a more standardized coinage system. The original large-size 10p coins minted from 1968 to 1992 had become increasingly impractical in circulation. By 2005, the coin measured 24.5 millimeters in diameter, had a thickness of 1.85 millimeters, and weighed 6.5 grams, making it much smaller and more manageable than its pre-1992 predecessor. Composed of cupro-nickel, a durable and corrosion-resistant alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the 2005 10p was not only resistant to wear and tear, but also suitable for modern vending machines and coin-operated systems. The obverse of the coin, or the front side, features the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the acclaimed sculptor Ian Rank-Broadley, whose initials IRB can be seen beneath the portrait. Introduced in 1998, this effigy was notable for its realistic depiction of the monarch, aged 71 in 1997, when the design was first released. Rank-Broadley's portrait was distinguished by its unflinching realism and fuller facial features, which departed from the more youthful and stylized representations of earlier designs. Around the Queen's portrait is the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2005, abbreviated Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription is a traditional element of British coinage, affirming the sovereign's role both as monarch and as the supreme governor of the Church of England. Turning to the reverse side, the design features the legendary crowned lion, a symbol that holds deep heraldic and cultural roots within British history. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the reverse shows a rampant lion, a heraldic pose where the lion stands upright on one hind leg with forepaws raised, wearing the royal crown. The lion represents England and is one of the oldest symbols of British heraldry, first used by Richard the Lionheart in the 12th century. The depiction of the crowned lion on the 10-pence coin is drawn directly from the crest of England's royal arms, connecting modern British currency to the royal and military traditions of the medieval period. The word 10 pence is clearly inscribed below the lion, with no numerals present in this version of the design, a stylistic choice that gives the coin an air of classicism. The 2005 version was among the final years before the significant reverse design change introduced in 2008 by the Royal Mint under the guidance of graphic designer Matthew Dent. In Dent's redesign, individual coin denominations were assigned fragments of the royal shield, which, when assembled together, would form the complete heraldic shield. Thus, the 2005 10p coin represents one of the final iterations of the Ironside lion design, marking the end of a nearly 40-year era in British coinage design. In terms of mintage, the 2005 10p coin was produced for general circulation, although the exact number struck is lower than in the preceding years, making it somewhat more appealing to collectors who aim for completion or seek minor mintage variations. Although not rare by numismatic standards, the 2005 issue is considered part of a transitional decade when the Royal Mint was evaluating the utility, popularity, and functionality of its coins in a changing economic and cultural landscape. With the rising use of card-based payments and digital banking, small denomination coins like the 10p were increasingly scrutinized for their necessity and longevity in circulation. This has only grown more prominent since 2005, leading to discussions in subsequent years about the eventual demonetization or phasing out of certain small coins. However, in 2005, the 10p coin remained an essential part of daily life, commonly used for small purchases, public telephones, vending machines, and more. Its continued popularity stemmed from its convenience and compatibility with coin-operated devices. Furthermore, its non-magnetic nature, due to its cupro-nickel composition, would change only a few years later, when starting in 2012, the Royal Mint began using nickel-plated steel for 10p coins to reduce production costs. Therefore, the 2005 10p coin is part of the last decade of non-magnetic cupro-nickel 10-pence coins, giving it technical interest for those who study material changes in modern coinage. Collectors who seek this coin today often look for uncirculated or proof versions, which were produced by the Royal Mint as part of annual collector sets. These proof coins feature a mirror-like finish and are struck multiple times to ensure sharpness and detail, making them ideal for display or investment purposes. While standard circulated versions of the 2005 10p are generally worth face value unless in exceptional condition, uncirculated and proof versions can command a modest premium in the collector's market. Numismatists also note the importance of such coins for tracking the evolution of Queen Elizabeth II's portraiture, heraldic traditions in coin art, and the broader historical shift from classic to modern design motifs. Given that 2005 sits just 3 years before the Queen's 80th birthday, and 3 years before the major shield redesign, the 10p coin from this year occupies a distinct space in the continuum of British coinage, nostalgically tied to the past, but poised on the threshold of modernization. It is a coin that is both ubiquitous and underappreciated, hiding a wealth of symbolism, heritage, and craftsmanship in its modest silvery frame. From a broader historical and cultural perspective, the coin also serves as a kind of time capsule of early 21st century Britain. The country in 2005 was marked by a sense of modernity mixed with tradition. Tony Blair's Labour government was in power. The nation had recently hosted the Live 8 concerts, and debates over national identity, the monarchy, and Britain's role in the European Union were increasingly present in public discourse. Against this backdrop, the 10p coin remained an unchanging, stabilizing object in the daily life of Britons. Its size, weight, and appearance were familiar to nearly everyone. In the UK, from schoolchildren collecting change for sweets to adults paying for parking or newspapers, the lion on the reverse, fierce and crowned, was a quiet yet constant emblem of British endurance, echoing centuries of monarchy, empire, and resilience. In this way, the coin stands not merely as currency, but as a symbolic artifact, linking the everyday financial exchanges of modern life with a much grander narrative of heritage and continuity. So this video, like and subscribe and comments.